where we explore the world of technology, careers, and finance. I'm your host, David, and my goal is to help simplify complex topics, share personal experiences, and inspire you to achieve your goals. So let's dive in. So guys, in this video, I'll be sharing my experiences on my first solo trip to Antalya, Turkey. I'll be covering how I found my flight and hotel, what I ate, places I visited, what lessons I learned, and how much I spent. So I found my flight and hotel via lastminute.com. And my major tip for you is that if you're trying to find a good deal travel package, is to wait to the very last minute. It sounds a little bit cheesy because the name of the site is lastminute.com, but I'll still do that because I noticed when I was trying to book this, it kept fluctuating. But I noticed like in the last few hours, because it was a time deal, the prices all dropped and I was able to get a really, really good deal. So that's my one tip. The one con I had with this approach was that I didn't really check how far the hotel would be from the airports. So I had to rely on booking a shuttle service, which also has its own drawbacks. As you get taken around various resorts, like obviously it's a shared shuttle, you're with other people. So they might get dropped off before you, so you literally have to be sat there till you get to your bit. So moving on to the meals, like your question, I'll be honest, I was quite cheap, to be honest. Anyone that knows me knows that David, sometimes I'm very cheap, but I don't really. Yeah, I'll just leave it there. I did try a few dishes though when I went on some excursions. I'll come to the excursions later on. But other times, I stuck to the meals offered at the hotel as it offered an all-inclusive concept. And this is something I learned in Turkey. So currently in Turkey, most of the resorts in Antalya, which is the region where I was, they were offering this all-inclusive concept, which basically comprises of breakfast, lunch, dinner, and also drinks as well. So all of that is included in your hotel package. But in terms of the meals in which I totally enjoyed, I would say the kebabs and the local seafood were quite nice because I was by the coast, so I had easy access to go to the beach, and thus I could get a lot of seafood. So that was really, really cool. So it's a good question. So working backwards from your question, so in total I went on 4 excursions over 7 days, and in total I think I spent £40 for those four excursions. So I got to see Alanya Castle, Damarta's cave, and I had a very interesting boat ride around the castle and the Mediterranean Sea, which was really, really cool. Then on that day we ended up going to the bazaar for the souvenirs. So another day I went to the Managat River. This was a boat tour, and this was also really, really cool because I got to actually experience a different city in Turkey, which was cool. It was a little bit quiet because I was able to go on a speedboat, which was also really cool. I got to meet lots of other travelers there as well. This is another thing I was going to come to. So if you're traveling solo, I'm not going to speak about the later one, but if you have the opportunity to link up with people, I would say definitely take advantage of that. Another day, I got involved with the most fun parts of the journey in my regard, which was a jeep safari, and this was around the Taurus mountain. So we went around the mountain, and as you're driving around, we had the opportunity to see some of the locals. So we'd wave at them, and then they would wave at us back. And then when we then stopped to take pictures, they would come, and then we got to speak to some of them, which was really nice. I practiced some of the Turkish words I had learned, which was "Günaydin" for good morning, "Negada" for how much is this. Quite a few of them, which was really, really cool. And also another thing, the nightlife. So the nightlife in Turkey was also really, really cool. There were some political unrest around the period when I was there, but that didn't really affect me too much. But in terms of nightlife, it was really, really good. There was this strip. It was like a bar/club strip. So there were lots of different bars, like Turkish bars, English bars, German bars, which was actually really nice. I got to meet a lot of people there as well. In terms of lessons learned, I think firstly, traveling solo for anyone can be quite a scary experience if you have never done it. I had never done previously, so I really didn't know what to expect. But guys, it was fun. I had the most fun of my life, and that's one thing I can definitely vouch for. Once you find a group that you can tag along with, let's say if you're going for excursions, is really, really fun. Group or groups, because one thing about me, I was jumping from different friendship circles, and it was really, really cool because once you find like a group of people and then you introduce yourself and then they find out that you're traveling solo, you can see in their eyes that they are really surprised because they know, number one, this is very scary for you to leave a whole country, go somewhere else where you know no one, and then still have fun. But that was the good thing. So you put me out of my comfort zone, and at the same time, I got to network with people, which is really cool. So back to your question. So the best thing about Turkey is the people. So the people in Turkey, they are fun. They can be quite cheeky, but they're always looking to help. The one thing that caught me out a little bit was the tipping nature. So for instance, you go to a local bar and then you pay for a drink. In Turkey, tipping is allowed, is encouraged. I think it's part of the culture, but I didn't really expect that. If that makes sense. For instance, let's say you went to a bar, right, in the UK, and you bought something. It's good to tip, but most of the time you tip based on the experience. You're not tipping because you expected to tip. That's one thing that really, really caught me out, so I had to really adjust that. Another thing was also haggling when you're going to the bazaar again, it's the market. So let's say you go to the market and you see some of the local souvenirs, some of the local snacks. Let's say the Turkish delight, for instance. There was this experience whereby I went to one shop. I literally haggled the Turkish delight. It was was a set of five. I negotiated it down to 80 lira, which is like £4 or £5. And then I went to an adjacent shop to buy the exact same thing, and I was quoted 200 lira for the exact same thing. So that's one thing that I really had to be wary of. For all my Nigeria guys, if you're here, we have that already. So I was not really surprised, but it caught me out a little bit. But trust me, I was able to handle it. Okay. So guys, listen to me very carefully for this bit. I spent £0 on this holiday. Like, if you need to quote this or cut this out, though, this is not a clickbait. I actually spent £0 on this trip. It was £250 to book the flight and the hotel. Firstly, that was a really good deal. But how did I actually do this? I was able to do this using something called the current account switch incentives. So this applies to those in the UK. So if you're in Nigeria or the US, this might not really apply to you. But if you're in the UK, you may know that currently most high street banks are offering incentives if you switch your current accounts to them. So for instance, if you are to switch an existing account to, let's say, Halifax or NatWest or First Direct, you get some amounts back. So let's say you switch to them, you get free £200. So I did 3 of the switches and I got £600 in total. As you can bet, so you can understand, the flight was £250. I had gotten £600 from the switch. The balance was what, £350, £250. I had that and I was able to use that to pay for all of my excursions, all of my transports whilst in Turkey. And the good thing is, like, if you're interested in knowing how this works, there's a guy I follow. His name is Andy. So if you can watch his videos, he goes further into explaining how these bank switches work. I might have a different video later on covering how I implemented it. So if you're interested in seeing that, please leave a comment. I'll be sure to do that. Another thing is that make sure you're using a bank that does not charge interest rates, especially if you're in Europe as well. At the moment, most of the digital banks, so Monzo, Starling, Chase, Revolut, they all offer this functionality whereby you're not charged interest for purchases in Europe. I personally use Starling, and one of the reasons why I use Starling was that it has this functionality, which is like it has a virtual card functionality where you can open up a mini account in the app, and you can add money to that mini account, and that mini account also gives you a virtual card as well. So this aims to ensure that if you're paying in the local currency, which you should always do, because most of the time when you go to the bars or you go to a restaurant and you want to buy something, and then they give you the point of sale machine, there are always 2 options. Would you like to pay in lira, which is the local local denomination, or would you like to be paid in pounds? Always go for the local currency, because that way you get the MasterCard rate, which is actually really good, to be fair. The virtual card option also helps to protect your main account from any compromise. So if you're quite worried about someone stealing your card, you don't have to use that. You can always use Apple Pay on your phone. Just use the virtual card that you've set up and actually has, let's say, £200, £300, because that way you're safe. For guys that, if you've not watched my other video about the various ways of budgeting, I'll link it up here. So make sure you watch that. So in that video, I explained a method of budgeting, which is the 50-30-20 approach, whereby for your net income, 50% of your net income should go towards your needs. 30% of your net income should go towards your wants. So this one is a want. So I want to go on holiday. So 30% of that went towards a want. So when I was doing my budgeting, the money I put aside for this holiday came from my wants. So how I did it was that I divided the budget. So I had the fixed budget, I think it was around £300, £350 over the 7 days. So I divided that over 7 days. So maybe £50-60 per day or something. And then I used that for like transportation, moving around. One issue I had was that I noticed I was spending a lot of money on taxis from the hotel to the city center. And what I should have done in hindsight was I should have spoken to some of the locals or even the concierge to ask them what are the best ways in moving around. Because I came to understand that there was a local bus which runs from quite early on to like 11 p.m. at night. And then that's like 10 lira, which is like, I don't know, 50p in pounds compared to 100 lira one way, which is what I was pretty much spending every single time I needed to get to the city center, which for you could be 2 or 3 times in one day. So that's one thing. So it was quite expensive trying to move around with taxis. So if I had known that the better option would have been to explore using local services, definitely I would say take advantage of that. And also like another thing is also try to have cash as well. I think that's a really big thing, because I ran out of cash and then I had to go to a bank to actually get cash, which was not easy because number one, if you try to go and get cash in these in a European country, for instance Turkey, I'm not too sure if all EU countries are like this, but you get charged. There's an option whereby you get charged, and sometimes it's like 6 or 7%. So I think the other day, I think I was trying to get the equivalent in pounds of what I was trying to get was £200, but I got charged like £13. So I didn't really expect that, but I needed the money for transport, so I didn't really have an option. So that's one thing. So also try to make sure you carry cash with you. The hack I did was that I changed some amounts in Gatwick, so in the UK, before traveling, and then I changed the rest when you get to Turkey. So if you're traveling, change some amounts in the UK and then change the rest when you get there as well. So guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I really had a lot of fun in Turkey. This was my first solo trip, guys, so I didn't really know what to expect, but I was quite glad I was able to go chill. Jai just means having fun, which is really nice. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about my experiences in Turkey. Please let me know about your experiences as well. So if you guys are planning on traveling, I do encourage you to go if you're thinking of going to Turkey. It's really, really fun over there. I've learned a lot of things, and I'm hoping I've been able to share some of those valuable tips that I have learned with you guys. So guys, until next time, happy travels if you're traveling. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed to watch my next video. You don't know what the next video is going to be about. Today I'm introducing you guys to free money, so you might as well watch so you can get free money and then share it to me. So until then, guys, take care.